Today's episode of the Outline Podcast is brought to you by Audible. Audible is offering the listeners of this show a 30-day free trial and one free audiobook in which you get to keep even if you cancel the membership. You can redeem this by clicking the link in the show notes or going to www.audibletrial.com/outlinepod. All right, let's kick off the show.
The Outline with Kevin Dwayne. Kevin Dwayne. The Outline. With Kevin Dwayne. The Outline. With Kevin Dwayne. This is the Outline with Kevin Dwayne. Kevin Dwayne. With Kevin Dwayne.
Hey, what's up, you guys? This is the Outline Podcast, and I'm your host, Kevin Dwayne, with your weekly discussion of all things LGBT culture, entertainment, and a piece of encouragement for everyone. Hope you guys are having an amazing week, and I hope all is going your way. I'm still in a very good space. I'm very happy, very pleased with how things are going. I'm just busy as fuck right now, and it's one of those things where I don't know if I'm coming or going. And I just want to apologize to anyone who thinks that I am either avoiding them or being negligent with their interests. I know there's people who have been asking to be on the show, and I'm working to get you guys on as soon as possible. Please be patient with me. I just have so much going on right now, but I will reach out. And yeah, so more hosts, more guests coming soon. I'm a one-man show. I literally need like an assistant or an agent or a manager. Like I legit mean that, but I'm also kind of exaggerating too. This is just a busy time of the year. It's like this every year. But if you're in the baking industry, if you cook anything, if you're a chef, if you're a baker, do you make cakes, wedding cakes, cupcakes, whatever. If you're looking on how to style and properly photograph images of your special treats and things that you bake and make, and you want to really take advantage of the resources you have with your smartphones, I am teaching 2 classes November 9th at the Cobb Galleria for the Ultimate Sugar Show. So it's a 2-hour class, and I'll be showing you how to style your food, how to properly light it, how to present it online, and all those things. And there may even be a contest. You can leave with something very, very special. You can sign up by going to the ultimatesugarshow.com, or you can even go to my Kevin Dwayne Photography fan page on Facebook. Or you can just click the link in the show notes, because I could always put it there and make it easy for you. So yeah, sign up now. The class is on November 9th, which is a Friday. I have one at 1:30 and another one at 3:30. So it should be very, very fun and it should be a good time. I had a great time last year. The class was full, and it's something that I think I will start doing online in the future, just not there yet because life is so damn busy. So I've been preparing for that. Also, I've had quite a few gigs over the last couple of weeks, which I'm grateful. If you know what it's like to be an entrepreneur and really grind, you get into these moments where you're getting business and it feels really, really good, but you also know that it's up and down. It's not guaranteed. But the last month or so it's been flowing very nicely, and I'm super grateful for that. But between that and, I still work a 9 to 5 because I'm just not ready to make that jump yet. But yeah, so it's been a very busy time, and then also doing the podcast and just keeping the brand flowing. It's a lot, but I'm super, super grateful, and I'm still enjoying it and having a great time. So thank you all for always listening, and thank you all who have been patient with me. I'm going to get all of you who've been listening to the show on as a guest So thank you so much for that. And I hope that you guys are having a great week as well. So, in my free time though, so I told you all I cut the cords last week. I got rid of cable. I was with Xfinity and they got on my damn nerves. And I'm sure many of you can relate, Xfinity and Comcast. It's just to get decent internet with them, they make you get into these cable packages, and it's just nah, it's trash. So in my case, in my apartment, the cable connection is faulty. There's only one in my bedroom, and I would have to get it wired into my living room, which is possible. I just didn't want to have to go through all that shit. And I don't have a working TV in my bedroom. It's in my living room because there's a TV in my room, but it broke like, I want to say 2 years ago, and I just let it be because I sleep better when I don't watch television in my room. Like my room is literally for sleep, but it's also my workstation too. It's kind of like an office as well. So I'm either editing at my desk or working at my desk, or I'm in my bed sleep, and my body has gotten used to that. So when I get in bed, it doesn't take long for me to fall asleep because there's not that many distractions, blah, 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 blah. But anywho, so I don't have a working TV in my bedroom, and I don't have a connection in my living room for cable. So this is going to sound crazy. For the last 2 years, I have been paying for basic cable, but I don't even have a hookup for it. So I had this box that I was paying for, all because I just wanted decent internet. So with Xfinity, allegedly, they throttle your internet based on the packages you have. So if you have standalone internet, you can only have it up to a certain speed. But to get a speed that is actually worth it, you have to have a package. And so I was in this package thinking that I'm saving money, but I ended up paying, after fees and all that other shit, I still ended up paying well over $100 just to have decent internet and a whack ass cable package, like basic cable. Like I barely had BET. I didn't have any advanced channels. It wasn't HD. It was trash. So I've been watching television on DirecTV Now, which I pay $25 a month through AT&T through a special, and I get all the channels I need. I have Hulu, I have Netflix. There was no need for me to actually have cable, and those are in HD because they are powered through my Apple TV. So getting rid of it was a no-brainer. I now have 1 terabyte per second because I have fiber optics through AT&T, and also I still have all my other stuff. So I'm so much happier now. So now that I was able to get rid of Xfinity, I upgraded my DirecTV Now plan so I can finally get TV One. So I got a chance to, I'm catching up on Queen Sugar, but I also binge watched Love Is. I know I'm late on Love Is, but I didn't have OWN and I wasn't in a rush to get to it. So I just avoided as many spoilers as I could. And I ended up watching it. And though the show has its own problems, especially with the lead character, Will Catlett, who plays Yasir, I really, really enjoy it. And if there's a season 2, I will definitely watch season 2. I really, really like the show. The soundtrack is everything. Love the 90s music. And I was blown away that they were using album tracks. 2 album tracks in particular that threw me off were they played Janet Jackson's Where Are You Now from her Janet Period album. And then also Brandy Moving On from her self-titled first album. And so I was like, wow, y'all using album tracks? I thought that was so dope. I thought that was like the most amazing thing. But I really, really enjoyed the show. I love Will Catlett as well. He was on a web series I used to watch on Black and Sexy TV called That Guy. And that's one of my favorite web series like ever. Like I rewatch it all the time. So I was naturally biased in liking the show because he was in it, though he is the most problematic character on the goddamn show. But I enjoy it. I really, really enjoyed it, and I want more. And I watched all 10 episodes over 2 days, and I can't wait. I really hope it gets picked up for season 2. It probably has already, and I'm just late, but I definitely enjoyed Love Is. Now I'm watching Queen Sugar, which is a harder watch because it's so deep and deals with heavier things. It's kind of like This Is Us, where I have to kind of watch one episode, take a break, and come back because that energy drop is just not my thing. But I got to catch up on those, enjoying them. I'm happy to have OWN. I'm happy to have other channels. And I'm only paying, I think now I'm paying $40 and I get like 200 some channels, and if there's no contract, I can cut it off whenever I want and just have the internet. I just like the freedom. So bye cable for now, because situations happen. I can move and be caught up again, but I'm not thinking about that yet. I'm just happy to have the freedom right now and to be able to put that money elsewhere and spend it elsewhere and not feel tied down to some bullshit ass cable. Another show that I talked about a couple weeks ago, I have to change my opinion on it, you guys. So Rail. I initially said that Rail was a good show, but it's not. And this is not me hating, and I feel really bad that I'm saying this because I want to support all shows with people of color, but we have to also understand that every show, just because it has people of color in it, doesn't mean the show is for us, and it doesn't mean that it's good. Rail is just not good. It's just not good. But here's the thing. Rail is hilarious in his stand-up. And so is Jess Hilarious. She's hilarious on her Instagram and when she does stand-up. But the show, I don't know what it is. It's just very dry. The tone is all wrong. The direction is all wrong. It's not good. Like, it's so corny and just him trying to play all these characters. It's like a wannabe Martin, but it misses the mark. It's just not good. And I posted this on my Facebook, and it seems a lot of people agree that it's not good. But I did have some people DM me and say that they love the show and they really, really enjoy it. And that's great because it's not for everybody, but there are people who enjoy it. And I was watching the commercial for it. And of course, they have the little pressed out commercials where they'll put like reviews from like critics. It's like, oh, it's explosively hilarious. It's so witty. It's so good. And I'm just like, okay. That's cool. I mean, that's what's up. I'm glad that, the critics are enjoying it. I am not. But here's the thing. I will never say they should cancel it. No, they shouldn't cancel it. I think there's room for improvement. Every pilot show had a little shakiness. Not every show comes out strong. If they make some adjustments, maybe get an actual live studio audience, that would be one. Get rid of that laugh track. Change up the joking format, and then also the way it's filmed is weird. Like the hue is very different. It reminds me of a show called Rock. So all my 90s people, there was a show called Rock back in the 90s I was on for a few seasons actually, and I remember Alexis Fields was on there too, and Charles Dutton. But it's filmed like that. It has that same kind of hue where it's not quite live, but it is, but it's like a filter over it that makes it kind of like sepia or whatever. I don't know, but it's a different watch and I'm not really feeling it. It's not the best show, but I do hope they get it together, and yeah, but it's a no for me right now. It's just not good. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. I know a lot of you have already commented on the Facebook post, but if you did, let me know. Are you feeling Rail? Do you like it? And if you do like it, what is it that you like about it? I want to know, because maybe I'm not watching it through the right scope. I had someone tell me that they like it because it directly relates to his stand-up. But a lot of comedians do that. They have parts in their stand-up and they redo them in movies and sitcoms. And somebody said it was funny because they were just recreating what he was talking about. But I don't know what it is. Like, I loved him on the Carmichael Show. I loved him on Insecure. I don't know. But it's a no for me right now. And that's just that. So, moving on. This week, this is going to be like we'll call it a podcast filler. This is not a show that I'll put in a press kit, but it will just be a fun, lighthearted show. I didn't really have anything that I wanted to talk about for real this week, or anything that I could really flesh out. So I decided to make it a questions for the host show. And this week, I'm not using questions that were submitted by people. I have this writing prompts question book, and I haven't used it to write anything. So I was like, oh, this would be great to answer questions on the show. And it'll be at random. And that way you can get my unfiltered, raw answers without me pre-planning. I swear to God, I'm not pre-planning it. I'm just going to flip through the book. I saw some really good questions in here, and I would like to just answer them on the show. I have a glass of champagne here to make sure all my walls come down. and that I'm just being truthful and honest and real about it. And I thought it would be a fun way to switch up the show this week. So it's just not a topic that's gonna get anybody in their feelings. And I don't want to do that this week. I want it to be lighthearted. I want it to be fun, and I want it to just be, I guess, more of getting to know myself, or for you to get to know me more and stuff like that. So, questions for the host. That's what we're gonna call this. And yeah, let's get started. So I'm gonna flip through here really quick and see. All right, cool. First question. What do you think you are missing that prevents you from living life to the fullest? Shit. Okay, so I can definitely say what I am missing is the complete courage to go after what it is that I want for sure. And what I mean by that is I take a lot of risk as it is. Like I have the podcast, which I would love to grow. I do photography, that's doing well, but there's still certain dreams that I would love to obtain, but there's fear. Number one, I do want to take a stab at stand-up comedy. I've talked about that on the show before, but just a fear of being on that stage and just bombing, which is guaranteed. Every comedian says that it's guaranteed that you're going to bomb, and that's how you test out your content, and you just have to get it out the way. And so part of me is like, just get out the way, Kevin. Go up there, do your best. If you bomb, so what? What's going to happen? You're not going to die. You're just going to bomb. You may get booed or whatever. Get it out the way, and that way you'll get the courage to keep going on and get it started. But I definitely want to do stand-up comedy, and the same with acting. I would love to be an actor. I would love to be in entertainment, period. But there's still a level of rejection that I haven't crossed yet, a level of just getting over those no's, which I get anyway. Like, we get no's in everyday life. You get no's when you're interested in somebody and they don't share the same interests as you. You get no's when you're working a regular 9 to 5 and you interview and they tell you that they went with another candidate. You get no's every day. So I have to really convince myself, like, so what's the difference of it being in something that you actually want to fucking do? So fear definitely keeps me from living my life from the fullest. And yeah, I just need a little bit more courage. And I have a lot of it. I've done a lot of things so far because I've said yes, but I just need to cross that threshold to move forward. Next question. Do you believe in soulmates? What is your definition of a soulmate? Okay. I like this question a lot, actually. I don't believe in soulmates, y'all. I don't, well, here's the thing. I don't believe that there is just one person in the world that just matches me and it's just a perfect fit for me. I don't believe that at all. I believe there are several people in the world who I probably have a lot of common interests with. And I think there's people out there who I am very compatible with. And I think that if I was to meet one of them and we gelled well, I'd be like, oh my God, you're my soulmate. But I don't think it necessarily has anything to do with being a soulmate. I just think that we're just similar and we have a lot of things in common. So maybe I can change it to say that we can have several soulmates then, I guess. I don't know. I feel like a soulmate. My definition of a soulmate would be someone who you have a lot in common with, and someone that understands you and you get them without a lot of effort, and they get you without a lot of explanation. Okay, so the champagne is kicking in, y'all. So if I start slurring, please forgive me. Don't make fun of me, but I just felt it hit me. And so this is going to get very, very interesting. Anywho, so I feel like it's someone who you have a lot in common with. You don't have to explain things to them. They just get it. And I've encountered quite a few like this. But here's the thing. I also don't believe that a soulmate has to be an intimate partner. A soulmate could very well be a friend. It could be the opposite sex. It could be the same sex. Who's to say? Souls don't have gender. So to say that it can only be someone that you're into is very flawed to me. I just feel like there's people out there who you just gel with. In fact, I would say that Sensei Raven Akundayo, my good friend and yogi, I feel like he's a soulmate of mine. We're great friends. We're great friends. from the moment we met, we just got each other. We just saw each other, and it doesn't take much explanation. We just get each other. I'd say he's a soulmate of mine by far. I feel most of my close friends are, but there's some people that you just gel well instantly, and it just takes minimal effort, and that's a soulmate to me. So if I believe it, I believe there are multiples. I don't believe there's just one. And I believe that they don't have to be romantic or intimate partners. And that would be my answer. But another flaw I think I see with people who hold on to the soulmates thing is, how is it that y'all always meet people who are local? How is it that if you believe there's a soulmate out in the world, why are they always in your city? Like, why are they always on how is that you can always meet them on an app? Like, how does that happen? I just feel like it's more about compatibility and flow. And I believe that every now and then we are blessed to meet people who gel well with us, and it doesn't take much effort. So yeah, I hope that's a good enough answer. Then again, I mean, I'm the one asking myself these questions, so I guess it is a good enough answer. Let's see here. I'm flipping through the book to find something else. Da 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 da. How do you handle difficult people? Okay, I like this a lot. So when I first got into the workforce, I want to say I've been working since I was 14 years old. Yeah, I've been working since I was 14. That's something I've always encountered. Every job I had, there was always difficult people. But this is where I learned that until you learn how to handle people and until you learn the lesson, you will always encounter it because you haven't learned how to deal and adjust. So the last time I dealt with a difficult person, especially when it comes to work, or when I'm sure there's been difficult people in the last few years. I just didn't notice because I've learned how to adjust. But the last time I noticed a difficult person, I was actually working at a bank when I was 21 years old. My manager was terrible, racist, really conniving, manipulative, did a lot of things that shouldn't have been done, and just really abused a lot of regulations and stuff like that. And it was a terrible experience. Like, I actually despise going to work. And I remember being so stressed anytime I had to work with this person, and it just drove me insane. And I remember I went and bought a book because y'all know I'm all about that self-help life. I bought this book. It was The Complete Idiot's Guide, one of those books, but there's a book they have called Dealing with Difficult People. Amazing book. It's an entire book about it. And I remember I was dating this asshole of a dude who made fun of me for having the book. And I just want to go back and cuss him out all over again because it's like he projected on me like, what do you need a book to tell you how to deal with difficult people? I'm like, well, first of all, nigga, we're two different people. And how you deal with people is different than how I deal with people. So what the fuck? I remember that whole thing, but that's neither here nor there. But I read this book and it literally had all of these different sections talking about different personality types, dealing with people in the workplace, dealing with people in your family, dealing with people everywhere. And after reading it, I started learning different tips and tricks and I started using them. But here's the thing. I also learned that you can't take things personally, period. Difficult people will only drive you crazy if you take them too seriously. A lot of times people are difficult because they have their own traumas they're dealing with. They have their own projections that they have of you, and they're pushing them forward on you. They want attention, which if you don't give it to them, it dies. And I learned how to maneuver that. So I recognize those energies really quickly now. It doesn't take me long to recognize how people are operating. And once I learned how to manage myself, because that's it. We try too hard to change people. We try too hard to adjust how people are rather than adjusting ourselves. I started governing myself differently. I started looking at what my actions were and what I was giving off. If I'm in a workplace and it's someone difficult, cool. We are here to work. I'm going to do my job. I know that when I'm dealing with you, it needs to be in a certain kind of way. Keep it short. Don't make it personal. Don't do too much lollygagging with people that you feel are difficult and you don't have to deal with, especially in group projects. Keep it very business direct and move the fuck on. We're not here to be friends. With like family members, I keep them at an arm's distance. I love you over there. I don't love you here. If it's like a holiday and I gotta deal with you in that time, cool. I'm gonna prepare myself before. I'm gonna give myself the talk. This person's gonna be here. They're probably gonna do this, this, and that, because a lot of times difficult people can be summed up. They have patterns. They don't really switch it up. You know what's gonna happen. This is probably gonna happen. Figure out your plan. What are you going to do? Are you going to stay away from them? Answer their questions in a very simple way. Don't react in a way that's going to cause a scene. Figure out your exit strategy. Are you going to leave? What are you going to do? You figure that shit out. And honestly, I can't tell you the last time I dealt with someone who was extremely difficult. Like, yeah, there's people who are always going to push back and do certain things, but I haven't felt like really stressed out by anyone in years, because I just don't allow people to get to me in that way anymore. And that's probably why I drive people crazy, because I'm nonchalant as fuck. Any of my friends can tell you that. Once you get to a place where you don't matter to me, I am so nonchalant and do not give a fuck about you, your tantrums, or whatever you're going through. Because at the end of the day, you ain't gonna beat my ass. You ain't taking money out of my pocket, so why do I give a fuck? And that's really how I deal with difficult people. Next question. Let's see. Have you ever given up on someone? Why? Shit. Okay. Have I ever given up on someone? I would have to say yes. And I won't go into hella detail, but I will say this. I give up on people when I begin to lose myself for the sake of saving them. I am no longer a sacrificial being. And I don't see myself being a sacrificial being ever again, to be honest with you, because what's the point? I'm only one person. I only have one life. Why would I hurt myself for the sake of someone who's obviously being selfish? If you have to be sacrificial for someone else that's not a child and not one of your kids, they're selfish. Kids are the only people that we should really be sacrificing for, unless it's like a parent or someone who's sick and you need to help them by their bedside and help them through their transitions. That's fine. So we'll say the sick and shut in and children. But anybody, whether it's a friend or romantic partner, if they require that you sacrifice of yourself, but they're not giving you anything back, nah, they're selfish and you shouldn't do that shit. So I've definitely given up on people because of that, because I was losing out on myself and I didn't feel any value in the connection anymore. So yeah, for sure. Let's see here. Have you ever been given the runaround? Why and what did you do? Yeah. I feel like we all have been given the runaround. The runaround, I get, to me, is the idea of like you're trying to achieve something through someone else and they keep changing the goalpost for you. Like you can never get a direct answer, whether it's a job you want. They keep saying, oh, we're still thinking about it. Or, for example, there have been people, no names will be named, there have been people that I have reached out to be on the show. They either said yes, but I could never actually get them on the schedule, or they said they'd get back to me. That's like the runaround to me, but this is how I handle it. I don't do anything else. I don't chase nobody. I'm the type of person I'm only going to ask you once, and you may get a follow-up, But outside of that, I beg for nothing. I'm not begging for a job. I'm not begging for someone to love me. I'm not begging anyone to be my friend. I ain't begging for shit. I asked you once. I'll follow up just to see. You may have forgotten. No problem. But I will not chase you to do something that you obviously don't have any interest in doing. What's the point? I don't get it. And that applies to everything. And that goes into me being very, very nonchalant. And it just is what it is. Let's see here. Sorry, I'm scrolling through. I'm just trying to find a really, really good one because this could easily. I think I'm gonna answer because I'm already hitting half an hour. I'm gonna answer 3 more questions and then we'll wrap it up. Let's see. These questions are really, really interesting, but there's some that I'm like, do I even want to go down this road with y'all? Let's see here. I'm going to have to do some editing, I can see. I'm going to have to cut out all the dead space while I look for questions. I swear to God. Let's see. Have you ever had a major setback? What was the cause and how did you overcome it? My most major setback was 2012. That's when my parents passed away and I lost my job. But I overcame it. I can't. All I can say is God, the universe. That's how I overcame it. Everything just fell into place. And that has really given me my zest for life. I don't fear much anymore because of that year. That really taught me how to live and not be afraid of the future. I mean, I always anticipate the future and I'm always kind of preparing for it, but being stripped of everything in that way really taught me that life will take care of you, or I'll say God or the universe or whatever you believe in, whatever life force you believe in, you'll be taken care of. And you can be stripped down and realize, like, wow, I'm still living. I didn't miss a meal. I never had to sleep on the streets. I was clothed. I had people around me who were loving and caring for me. And it worked out. And that's honestly how I ended up in Atlanta. And that's how I started doing photography and living the life that I live now. So who's to say if none of that happened, where would I be now? But it was a major setback because I had to jump back into the workforce at the bottom, working in the call center and working hourly and trying to get back up to salary. It was mad interesting, but I did it and it made me stronger and I'm grateful for it. Not saying I want to go through the shit again, but it definitely it definitely made the man that I am today. Whew. What is the greatest act of kindness you have ever performed for someone? Shit. Okay, let me think about this. That's actually great because one thing about me, I do things low key. When I do kind acts, I don't believe in publicizing them, and I don't think there's anything wrong with sharing these stories with people, especially like on Facebook. You know, people are like, "Oh, I just gave this man this money, or I just gave this man this food, and this happened at X, Y, and Z." There's nothing wrong with it because you're sharing good news, and maybe that'll inspire other people to share good news. But I do feel like there's a level of ego and attention that you're asking for when you have this need to tell people of the good things you've done for people, if that makes sense. So I'm always cautious because I don't want to come across that way. So I usually do my good acts in private. But what comes to mind of one of the greatest acts I've ever done for someone, it was last year, actually. It was after Sensei Raven's birthday. We went to PS 404. and I was going home. And somehow, and I do believe that this was ordained by the universe. Like, I do believe this happened because it was supposed to happen, because it was so weird and so random. So I was headed home on 85 North, and I missed my exit. I've driven on this freeway how many times now? I've lived in this place how long? And I guess I just wasn't paying attention, and I missed my exit to continue on to um, 85 North, and I ended up on 400. And so I was like, okay, I'll exit at Lenox Road and I'll just turn around and get back on and just go back home. I was irritated, but whatever, who cares? So I get off at Lenox Road and I make a left, but I notice that you can't immediately get back on the freeway. You have to drive down the street a little more and then make a U-turn. So I drive down towards like the Wells Fargo on Lenox Road. And if you live out here, you probably know what I'm talking about. And I make a left into the shopping center. There's a on the border, a Wells Fargo, and a couple shops in there. So I end up turning into the shopping center so I can turn back out. And it's raining, by the way, and it's cold as fuck. Or is it just cold? It's not raining. It's just really, really fucking cold because the temperature had dropped. It's like November. It's like November 19th, 20th at this time last year. And so as I'm pulling out of the shopping center, this lady is running towards me with a stroller, a little girl next to her, and she's like waving me down, and I'm just like, what the hell? And so I crack my window because I'm just like, okay, what's this about? And I mean, okay. And she tells me the story of like, I'm sorry, I don't know you, but I have my baby out here in this cold weather. I'm really concerned about them. I was staying in this hotel, my apartment, like she has a whole story about her home being burned down, and she was staying in this hotel and the hotel was putting them out unless they could pay them for the night. They just wanted to get through the night, blah, 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 blah. And so she was telling me her story, and then it was like a quick moment. So for a split second, we all have this, I think, when someone's in need of help, or if it's a stranger on the street, we always quickly think to ourselves like, is this a scam, or what are they gonna do with it? But here's the thing: I've always learned when it comes to homeless people, when it comes to people begging on the street, if you give from the kindness of your heart, it shouldn't even matter what they may do with that money. That's really none of your business. If you're giving to give, you just give it and let that consequence fall upon them. That has nothing to do with you. So, anywho, she told me her story, and I saw like she had a young baby, like less than 3 months, and it was cold as hell outside. And she had the little girl next to her, and I was like, you know what? Okay, how much do you need? I will not give the amount, but she gave me the amount. The amount was actually very reasonable. So I was like, okay, let's go across the street to the Wells Fargo. Went across the street to Wells Fargo. I gave her the money, and I also offered them a ride to their hotel. I took them to the hotel, and the story ended up panning out like correctly, and it was actually the truth. And it was it was a rewarding experience. I didn't expect it to be so rewarding, but it was one of those things where it's just like, I often look for moments to help people because I feel like that's why we're here. But just knowing that I got those children off the street for a night really meant a lot, if that makes sense. But that came to mind. I don't know if I've done anything like greater than that, but that just came to mind instantly when I saw the question. So yeah. And that was last November. And I only told Raven about it because I don't know. I won't say I'm ashamed of it, but I feel like there's certain acts you just keep to yourself and just let it be and just, keep it pushing. All right, 2 more questions. What we got here? Da 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 da. Let's see here. Let's see. Do you believe the truth always comes out? Has the truth ever set you free? Let me tell you. I do believe that the truth always comes out. But just like karma, it comes at its own time. It doesn't always come when you want it to come out. Sometimes the truth comes later in life, but I do believe that it finds a way of seeping out. I remember when I mean, hell, fuck it. I remember when I cheated and I tried to fucking keep that shit concealed for as long as possible because I was afraid of the consequences. But you know what? When it came out and I faced all the consequences anyway, it did set me free. Because guilt is a motherfucker. Guilt will have you thinking the world is out to get you. As they say, cheaters always think other people are cheating, liars always think other people are lying. And that was definitely that experience for me where I was just so frantic about everything. What you mean? What do you want? Like, it was terrible. And that's why I am like so honest now and so upright now, because it's just not worth it. It's not worth it. But yes, everything comes to light no matter what. It just takes time. And it could be after people have died, it can be after relationships have ended. But guess what? That truth is going to find a way to reveal itself. Look at all of the Me Too stuff. Look at the Cosby stuff. Look at the people who are in jail for like tax evasion and all the like shit just happens. It may not happen in the time you think it will. It may not happen while you're hot, but I feel like if you open your eyes, you'll see that, yeah, the truth will always come to the light. So just tell it yourself, because lying just takes too much work, y'all. Like, ain't nobody trying to cover up and remember stories and shit. And this comes from experience. And I mean that, like, for sure. Let's see here. So one more question, and then we'll wrap up. This was actually really, really cool. I'm glad that this could be a show for once. Let's see. Give me a second. There's a couple questions here, but they're just too simple, and I kind of want it to be a good one. I don't want it to be a dry ass question. I want it to be worth you listening to this show. If you could call a time out on something in your life, what would it be? Does debt count? If I call a timeout on debt, it would totally be that. But actually, I'll go even deeper than that. If I could call a timeout on my sexual prowess, my horniness, I think I would do that. I feel like my horniness gets me in the most trouble. And that's me being 100. If I had like 6 months of literally not even desiring anybody, if I could be asexual for 6 months, I'd probably get more done. And I mean that shit. If I can call a 6-month time out on just, I mean, not even looking at anyone that looks good, like legit just asexual, I would get so much done because I feel like so much in our lives can be driven by desire and sex. And I'm speaking from experience. If I can call a timeout on that, I think that's exactly what I would pick. So yeah, that's a good question. That is a good question. This is actually really, really cool. I wish that I have gone through this book before. Like, so these are all writing prompts, and you're supposed to write these things out. But I've never done it. It's just been sitting on my desk empty for like 2 years, and I've done nothing with it. So this was very, very fun. Let's do a bonus question just for the hell of it. Let's see here. What has been your greatest self-discovery? My greatest self-discovery would be, I want to say my value, if that makes sense. As a kid, I used to always feel like I had to be validated by other people. I needed other people to like me. I needed other people to just say that my existence was okay. And as an adult, I don't need that anymore. And I've discovered that I can get everything I need from within. Everything I need is within. And once I figured that out, and once I started living that way, greater things started happening. That's when I started creating things and building my photography business and doing the podcast and speaking my actual mind and giving my opinion without being afraid that people won't agree with me. Of course, people aren't always going to agree with you. They shouldn't always agree with you. That's the point of having an opinion and providing perspective. And so the greatest self discovery was that no, you have a place in this world. You are valued. And it's because you give yourself that value, and there's a purpose for you to be here. So, yeah, that'll be my greatest self discovery. So, if you liked any of these questions and you want to answer the questions yourself, please leave your answers on Twitter, the Outline Podcast, or it's Outline Pod at Outline Podcast, or you can leave your answers on the Outline Podcast fan page on Facebook. I would love to hear your answers to these questions and hear anything about this show. If you have anything you want to leave a comment on, please let me know. You can also do that on the Instagram page as well. The links will be in the show notes for you to participate. But thank you all so much for listening to this show. I hope that it was a good departure from what I normally do, but I wanted to keep it light and I wanted to be fun and just be a little different for once. I know the show always has a certain format that I always follow, but I just wanted to do something new this week. But until next week, peace out.